Okay, I guess we'll do fire ants today and then bullet ants tomorrow. I guess that'll make a pretty good two-parter. Hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry's back again, apparently. Hey guys, how was your vacation? It's been too long. Yes, there's been a few story arcs since you guys have left. First, I fought against alien squirrels, and now we're doing ant facts. It's a series where I talk about ants and the facts therein. Yeah, okay. Anyway, the berry plushies have returned. Like, quite literally, the berry plushies are back for, like, purchase over at teespring.com. You could follow that link in the description and go get yourself one. I know a lot of people have asked about this, didn't have a chance to buy the plushies back in, like, January when they went on sale the first time. So they're back again for limited time only for another 2-week campaign. I don't know if I'm going to sell them again after this, so if you really need a berry plushie to adorn your bedroom or office or poolside or whatever, this would be the time to get them. So follow that link and go check them out. Okay, so today's video, we are talking about the Cypher Pole Zero and their nefarious plans with Wano Kuni, alright? So this seems to be like how Oda is keeping score in the battle right now, where we have, you know, the Beast Pirates fighting against the Rebellion, where you have to have like a third party off to the side that's kind of like observing everything. And this is a common trope in anime. It happens quite a bit, you know, here's this one, you know, really good guy fighting against this villain, and off to the side you just have a bunch of people just kind of like, yes, they are quite strong, but I wonder who will come out on top, you know? And so that's the CP0 in this one particular instance. They're in their indestructible reception room, which is really close to the live stage. You know, the way it's laid out, you have the giant live floor where Queen is brawling with Sanji right now, and just a massive, just nonsensical thing with all the Beast Pirates and the Samurai and the Oni Wabanshu and the Mimawari Gumi, and there's giant dinosaurs stomping around, and Drake is there, and it's just insanity. And then, like, a few stories up, maybe like 3 or 4 stories, you have the indestructible reception area where Cypher Pole Zero is just chilling out with some light jazz music, you know, drinking some tea. Yes. I wonder, a random CP0 member, look out the window to see what's going on, and they just open the window, and it's just like chaos, and just, you see laser beams firing off as, like, Queen is firing them, and freaking King is letting out a pterodactyl screech. I don't know if I can do one, but you know, I don't know. And then so you got Marco flapping around, and he's just like, yes. It would seem the Rebellion is getting the upper hand here, you know? So that's basically what they're doing, and they have the Go board in front of them, and they're using the pieces of the Go board to, like, you know, mark, you know, how many people are on the Beast Pirate side and on the Rebellion side. And last chapter we saw an update with that because 5,000 people have dropped in both sides, added together 5,000, but then another 4,000 were added from the Pleasures and the Waiters that defected and started fighting against Queen, so on the Rebellion side. So right now it's around 20,000 members of the Beast Pirates, or 20,000 enemies. That also includes the Oni Wabanshu and the Mimawari Gumi, and then 7,000 samurai. But the funny thing is, they started this war with 5,400 soldiers on the Rebellion side and 30,000 on the Beast Pirate side. So now it's 20,000 for the Beast Pirates, and the Rebellion actually has more soldiers than when they started. So the CP0 are getting a little bit anxious here. They're not ready to throw in the towel yet, like, oh, definitely, you know, the Rebellion is going to win, but they're like, well, they have a little bit of a better shot than before. And also, we have the situation with Otama right now about to deliver the message to all of the smiles, all of the headliners. That Go board is going to flip big time. Freaking CP0 are up there looking at the numbers, and they're like, well, you know, some of the Beast Pirates defected and are fighting on the Rebellion, but I don't think it's anything to really worry about. They're still outnumbered almost, you know, 3-1, so I think the Beast Pirates are still going to win. Then another member of the CP0 is like, yes, you know, for all of the Beast Pirates to change sides, you know, that would have to be the work of some god, nay, some devil or demon. You know, could such a being even exist? I do not know. Yeah, Otama is the Lord, you know, and so she does that, and then all of the gifters at once start fighting on the side of the Rebellion, and then I can imagine the CP0 just, like, looking outside the window, seeing all these gifters fighting against the Beast Pirates, and just being like, just walks over to the Go board and just son of a bitch, it just like flips it over. Like, crap! Alright, we need to do something here. So this brings up a question, like, what is the role of the Cypher Pole here? Like, what exactly are they going to do? So this goes back to a little bit earlier in the arc. I think this was right as soon as Act 2 started in Wano, where we got properly introduced to Orochi. This is when we first saw CP0 in Wano, and they were meeting with Orochi in the Flower Capital, and Orochi had no compunctions about back-talking to CP0, directly threatening them, you know, asking for Dr. Vegapunk, and just ridiculous demands, even shooting one right in the face, which under normal circumstances, I mean, that's like not the same thing as like firing on a celestial dragon, but it's pretty damn close, right? These are the CP0, the ones that are protecting the Celestial Dragons. And most people in the world, when you see those people walking around with their creepy masks on, you're like, okay, yeah, give them a wide berth. Avoid them. Do not go close to the CP0. You do not want to die. You do not want to piss off the world government, right? So Orochi, despite all of his flaws, and he has many, many flaws, but that was a little bit cathartic to hear like somebody like giving the CP0 that much sass, you know, in that one moment, right? So Orochi is like, hey, you guys, the government, are coming here to broker a deal with me, because the original setup was Joker, Doflamingo, was the underworld broker handling all the weapon exchanges, okay? So weapons were mass-produced in Wano Kuni. A lot of those weapons went to Kaido and the Beast Pirates, but Joker also sent them off to various locations in the world, in the underworld, as well as the world government. So the world government was getting weapons from Wano, okay? And Wano, as I remind you, is a country that on paper is not allied with the world government at all, but they were still dealing there. They didn't specify exactly what kind of weapons, because I feel like, you know, Orochi, you know, he has those weapon factories that makes like the battleships and like the guns and stuff, but I feel like the world government doesn't need that. In fact, Orochi even mentioned that in exchange for the weapons he provided to the world government, they provided him with warships, okay? So the government has guns, the government has cannons and giant marine battleships, okay? The only thing that I can imagine the government would want from Wano is Sea Prism Stone, or Sea Prism Stone based weaponry, because the only place in the world where you have artisans that are skilled enough to actually sculpt Sea Prism into weapons like nails and bullets are in Wano. So that would be probably the only place. I imagine he was talking about like, you know, Sea Prism bullets, or like Sea Prism buckshot or something like that, Sea Prism swords, or, you know, swords or spears that are tipped with Sea Prism, maybe stuff like that. Maybe the spear that Beiji had. Remember when Beiji was at Zou, he kind of threatened to shoot down Caesar with Sea Prism bullets, but he didn't actually have any, but they did have a Sea Prism tipped spear. That stuff is hard to come by, okay? And to refine it in that way might have actually have, you know, been sold on the black market in the underworld, and that's where Beiji found it, you know? And so he's like a mafioso, so that makes sense, right? So I would imagine a lot of this stuff, even Smoker's staff, which I always mispronounce, so I'm not even gonna bother, but Smoker's staff that's tipped with Sea Prism might have actually have been designed from Wano, and the government or the CP0 purchased it from Wano and then provided it to the Marines, okay? They didn't tell the Marines where they got it. They just said, oh yes, the world government has resources. We have provided you with some Sea Prism weapons, and here you are, right? It's actually kind of funny now that you think about it. A lot of high-ranking Marine officials do not use Sea Prism stones. Smoker is actually one of the only ones that do. I wonder if it's a thing you have to send in a request for, and Smoker was in freaking Logtown of all places. He was way out in the east, and he was like, hey, yeah, request at headquarters, can I please receive a Sea Prism stone weapon? Wait like 2-3 weeks for a reply. Yeah, sure, here you go. I'm like, oh, okay, it was that easy the whole time. You'd think you'd see like vice admirals all over the place, and not even just vice admirals, but rear admirals and captains and commanders all using Sea Prism tipped swords and spears and armor and stuff like that. But, you know, dollars to donuts, that is probably what the world government is asking of Wano there. And so because Doflamingo was captured at Dressrosa and he's thrown an impel down, the CP0 have no choice but to directly go to Wano themselves. That is something that is way, way off the book. They do not want people to know that they're doing that. And so Orochi calls him out for it. Orochi is just like, ha ha, I am Lord Orochi. I know why you're here. It's because Doflamingo was defeated and captured. So therefore, you have no other choice but to come and speak to me directly. Ah, that's so funny. I am Lord Orochi. Okay, and then all the CP0 members are like, oh god, how did Doflamingo deal with this idiot? No, seriously, that's a legitimate question. I want you to picture Doflamingo and freaking Orochi in the same room brokering a weapon deal. It would have probably taken every ounce, like, even though Doflamingo is evil and Orochi is evil, it would have still taken a lot of restraint for Doflamingo not to just, like, oh god, this guy's annoying. You know, just one thread is all it would take. You know, it's like, alright, yeah, I know, okay, you've ordered the weapons, sure, that's great, but god, I don't like you, you know? So, at any rate, the government is there trying to figure out a new deal between Orochi to get what they want, but Orochi's like, hey, you really don't have any, you don't have any backing here anymore. You know, all the cards are on my table, so tell you what, if you still want me to give you guys weapons and Sea Prism and also gold, Wano is referred to as the country of gold, or at least it was, so maybe, you know, other resources other than Sea Prism that Orochi might be providing. But the point is, Orochi's like, you know, if you still want stuff from my country, you gotta give me something crazy. Last time I asked for a bunch of warships, but, I'm thinking about upping the ante a little bit here. How about we do, Dr. Vegapunk? You just give me one Dr. Vegapunk, and then, we'll be square. We'll be good. I'll give you all the Sea Prism you need. And of course, the government is like, that's not possible. And that's when Orochi takes out a pistol and just shoots one of the members in the face. Now, doesn't really seem to injure them at all. You know, it just knocks off their hat. And then they were wearing the mask, of course. So you just see, like, the bullet hitting the mask and then just like, ooh. You know, like, okay, so I'm not even sure what the members of CP0 are. I'm assuming human, maybe a long arm in that case, and they were using hockey or something to block the bullet, but still, the balls on Orochi to even do that is insane. And Orochi continues and says, hey, look, Wano is self-sufficient, alright? This is my country, I'm the shogun. Even if you, all of the world government, all of the Marines came together and fought us directly, you would all still lose. You know why? Because I am Lord Orochi! And I am backed by Kaido! So, that is kind of a, sort of a nut up or shut up kind of moment from Orochi, because I don't know, Kaido is pretty powerful, but he has been defeated by the Marines before. He has been captured by the Marines before. So I think if, like, all of the Marines pulled their energy together and all of the world government, like, you got all of the Cypher Pole agencies together, and you got all of the Vice Admirals and the Admirals and Sakazuki, the Fleet Admiral, together, and they all waged war against Wano and Kaido, I mean, it wouldn't be an easy victory, I think, for either side. There'd be a lot of casualties along the way, but I don't think it's just, I don't think the Wano would automatically win. I don't think even with Kaido's power would they automatically win. I want you to imagine Kaido squaring off against the three admirals, Kizaru, Fujitora, and Green Bull, plus Sakazuki getting in on that action. 4 of the admirals together fighting against Kaido. That's anybody's game there. Like, I would honestly bet more money, if that actually happened, if the Marines and world government came together full force, like, called Orochi's bluff, and were like, you know what? Screw you. We're not giving you Vegapunk. Negotiations have broken down. You know, give us a week and we'll be back. And Orochi would be like, oh, of course, you're scared of me. But they actually call his bluff. A week later, they show up on Moss, you know, and all of the strongest Marines are there. Garp is there, and be like, we're taking Wano and we're decimating Kaido. Now, obviously, the reason the world government does not do that, well, for a number of reasons. Number one, that would basically, the effort that would be required to do that would be basically taking every strong Marine from all over the world and condensing them in one point, which that would just lead to upheaval all over the place. Plus, they're in the middle of, you know, trying to bring all of the Shishibukai in, which that alone is a plan that I think has some faults, because, yeah, there's some of them that don't play along, but very clearly, like, Boa Hancock has just her own island where, you know, just leave her alone and she'll be okay. She won't try to directly attack you, probably. And then Mihawk is also kind of like like that. So I think it's a little bit intense to do that right now. So they obviously have a lot of other things going on. And plus, if they did do that, even if they succeeded and they killed Kaido and they took over all of Wano, that would still result in heavy, heavy casualties on the world government and marine side, okay? So that's the reason they didn't go along with it. But I don't think Orochi's words were like, you couldn't possibly defeat us even if you all worked together. I think they probably had a pretty good chance. Anyway, so that was how that meeting pretty much ended right there. As soon as that concluded, Orochi went into the banquet hall and we had his proper introduction. We saw his goofy appearance and what he looked like and everything like that. But the Cypher Pole stayed in Wano. They didn't leave, okay? They stayed in Wano, I think, for the next week or so until the Fire Festival probably started. It's important to mention that Drake, when he was relaying that secret info to Kobe, as a member of Sword, he was like, hey, Cypher Pole Zero's here. And Kobe's like, wait, what? Huh? So they were shocked by this. So the Marines did not know about this. This was a very top secret operation. Cypher Pole is not supposed to be in Wano. They're not supposed to be in any country that's not allied with the world government, really. And if it was like Cypher Pole 8 or Cypher Pole 7, that would be bad enough. But this is Cypher Pole 0. These are the head honchos that work directly under the Celestial Dragons, which means it's probably very likely that it wasn't it's obviously the Cypher Pole 0 is a shield. They are an extension of the Celestial Dragons, okay, of their will. So actually, let's go one step beyond that. It was Joker originally that was handing off the weapons to Cypher Pole 0 and the world government, but who in the world government really wanted those resources from Wano? You could just say the Gorosei, because the Gorosei were like, well, we need Sea Prism, and that's the only place on the planet you can really get reliable weapons made out of the stuff. So, Gorosei, who are Celestial Dragons, give the order to CP0, and then CP0 gives the order to Joker, and then that's how that all went down. Or it could be another Celestial Dragon somewhere in the city that requires something very specific. I don't know. So, with Orochi dead, at least the Cypher Pole think that he is dead. He's not. Well, he might be. He was dead, and then he came back, and then the Scabbards cut him down again. He's probably still alive. I don't think, he came back once. I can't see any reason why he wouldn't come back again. But the Cypher Pole think he's straight up dead. But they're still there, and they're observing the battle. So, let's look at this from two ways. Let's look at it, what happens if the Beast Pirates win? All right, what would the Cypher Pole do at that moment? Well, Kaido comes out victorious. All of the rebellion is crushed. They're there celebrating. Kaido and Big Mom or whatever is like, whoa, we did it. Would the Cypher Pole approach them? Because this is a very dicey situation where you have two Yonko working together, and, they're probably not so stupid to not realize that, hey, I'm a Yonko, you're a Yonko, we're working together, we could probably take on the world government, right? And they probably could. So, Big Mom and Kaido aren't that stupid. If the Cypher Pole show up, they might reveal themselves to be like, okay, congratulations, you won, and Kaido effectively has taken over all of Wano Kuni. But maybe then the Cypher Pole 0 will be like, we need to talk. We need to figure out a new plan here of how this is going to work, right? And so I don't feel like Kaido would be amenable to that. I feel like Kaido would just, try to crush him or whatever. He's like, you government bastards dare come in here and try to, But the Cypher Pole might be like, hey, congratulations, you won. You've taken over Wano Kuni. But unless you work on a deal with us right now on how this is going to work moving forward, we're just going to full force attack you. And you guys might win, you guys might lose. We might get some heavy casualties too, but we can't, the government is not just going to allow the Yonko to just rule the entire ocean. So they probably have to stop it early. So would they approach Kaido and Big Mom, or would they just leave after it looks like, not already after the battle is over, but when that gets to the point where it's like, okay, like 95% of the rebellion's forces, like let's say the Straw Hats were all killed, like all of the Kid Pirates, Heart Pirates were wiped out. So they're like, okay, there's only a few stragglers left for the samurai. Clearly the Beast Pirates are going to win. Kaido and Big Mom are still alive. There's no use in staying here. We know what's going to happen. The Cypher Pole maybe would just leave then, and then head back to Marijua and then relay the information like, Kaido basically took over all of Wano along with Big Mom, and now he wants to create a brand new pirate paradise all over the world with, Wano or New Onigashima serving as the core for that, basically. So, we should probably get on that, Sakazuki, and then like the Goro say, we should probably do something about that. So that's one option on the table, or two options on what they might do. But definitely they would be terrified. The Cypher Pool would be terrified. Now, when it comes to this group specifically, like this trio of the CP0, I'm sure they're very strong. They might even be stronger than Rob Lucci. This dude right here that we see a lot, we have no idea who this person is. He's obviously not Lucci or any of the other members of CP9 or Spondum. This might very well be the leader of CP0. He might be their strongest warrior. But I don't think, even if they even take Rob Lucci up against Kaido, Kaido's gonna win. Even though Rob Lucci has trained over the 2 years, he knows hockey and stuff, he would still lose, I think. So I don't think these guys in particular are going to fight, Kaido and Big Mom. They wouldn't be that stupid, all right? They might be strong, but not that strong, okay? So either try to broker a deal or just leave and go back and report to Marijua, okay? Now, what happens if it's looking like the rebellion is winning? Okay? Because the CP0, they have a few different horses in this race, so to speak, okay? Because they're trying to maintain the balance of power at the end of the day and slowly allowing the world government to get more influence in the world, all right? So the big concern right now is Kaido and Big Mom forming an alliance. If the rebellion were to win, and this alliance were to collapse, and Big Mom and Kaido were to be defeated, that's definitely good for the world government. It's like, okay, phew, we averted that disaster, okay? There's no longer an alliance between Yonko. However, now we have Wano under new management, under the Kozuki clan again, and they're going to try to open up the borders, of course, and you also have the Straw Hats, and the Kid Pirates, and the Heart Pirates. What's going to happen here? It would honestly seem in the CP0's best interest for both sides to wipe each other out, right? That's probably why they're still hanging around. That's probably why they're still watching the board. It'd be like, hey, maybe if things start getting a little bit too one-sided, and they haven't revealed this yet, but that would be a good twist, would it not? Where it's like, oh, hey, it's looking like the Beast Pirates are getting a little bit too much of an advantage, and so maybe the CP show up and Shigon use some finger pistols and, take out a few members, and so the rebellion has a little bit more balance. So maybe the CP0 will try to keep it as balanced as possible as the numbers keep dwindling, so effectively both parties wipe themselves out. And then, when they do, that's when the government comes in and takes control over all of Wano. That would definitely be one of their missions. I can see them doing that right now. Of course, the biggest threats here, as I've said many times, are, Kaido, Big Mom, the heavy hitters, and everything like that. But if it's like Luffy and Kaido look like they're going to annihilate each other, that's great for the world government. That's perfect news. Then we all have to make sure is just the riffraff, the soldiers are wiped out on both sides, and then that's when CP0 takes over, okay? So they're probably right now aiming for an upset from the rebellion. I wouldn't even be surprised if the CP0 was rooting for that right now in the short term. So it looks like they can both annihilate each other to be easier for that, and then they can, take action, okay? But at any rate, that is what's up with the CP0 right now, just like the referees or the scorekeepers. But I think whether they want to or not, they are going to get dragged into this battle, or they might just up and leave the country. How did they get in? I guess through the Moga report, but getting off might be a problem unless the government has a secret flying machine, which they probably might because it's the government. But yeah, CP0, keep an eye on them. They're going to go places. Alright, so that was the One Piece discussion, whatever, who's here for that? Moving on to the real part of the video that everybody gets the most excited for, let's get some ant facts.
Ant facts, facts about ants and other insects, but mostly ants.
Yeah, alright. So today, as I said, we're going to be talking about the humble fire ant, marching along the desert with its painful mandibles and equally painful stinger. Yeah, that's right, ants that have stingers. And you know what? You might be afraid of bees, or wasps, like I am, horrifyingly. They're very scary. But now, ants have stingers, and ants, unlike bees, you might get swarmed by bees or wasps. That actually did happen to me once, but even in that situation, there was only 10 wasps that were stinging my head at the same time. With fire ants, you have significantly more than that. So we talked about army ants, and they're more terrifying with their giant jaws, and they might literally like shred you to the point down to the bone if you just remain in one space. They would just like, cover you and then just devour you whole. Fire ants aren't quite that brutal, and unlike army ants, fire ants do in fact have a colony. They can number up to 200,000 members, typically in more warm climates, like they could be out in the desert, prairies, grasslands, stuff like that. If you ever watched Brave Wilderness with Coyote Peterson, that episode where he sticks his hands into the colony, and when a bunch of fire ants bite you, unless you're allergic, you probably won't die, although definitely not recommended. When the fire ants sting you, it's painful enough, but what's even more terrifying to me is after about a day or so. So this is like a day. This is like you get bit and it's like, ow. And then like a day later, wherever the fire ant bit you, these like pustules will appear on your flesh. These big red bumps, like pimples, will appear wherever you got bit. And if you got like swarmed by them, if you got bit by a bunch, like if you're just hanging out for a picnic and you set down your soda, they're attracted to sugary things. Also very greasy and oily things, very similar to the thief ant in that regard. You're eating pizza at a picnic and you set your hand down into a fire ant colony and you're like just talking, and all of a sudden they start coming out and intensely biting your hand, like, ow, dang it, why? And then a day later, your hand is just covered in these pustules, and you can't scratch them or like pop them or whatever, because then they could lead to be getting infected, and then that's even worse, and that's how you get scarred from these things. The swelling in the pustules tend to go down after about another day or so, so it doesn't last that long, but like, don't piss off fire ants. They're not fun. Stay away from them. Yeah, and they are immune to fire. Yeah, that's actually a confirmed ant fact right there. I wrote it down. 100% immune to fire. In fact, fire makes them stronger. They turn into, that's like their evolved form. They go into lava ants if you hit them with fire. They, go up in temperature enough. They're now lava ants, and they can burn through your floor and destroy your house. So, I guess if you have a fire ant infestation, the best thing to do is just leave. The ants own the house now, okay? But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking and the various berries. Have a good one. Remember, the berry plushies are once again up for sale down in the description over at Teespring. So follow that and get yourself a berry plushie today. Thanks for watching, everybody. Signing out.